buying stocks is kind of like going to the library to find a good book. Some stories are a lot more compelling than others. Yes, it's about storytelling. When you've been in this business as long as I have, you start to notice how certain narratives often lead to big profits. And one of my favorites, when a struggling company with a battered stock makes a dramatic move to take control of its own destiny. That's a great hook. And when it works, wow, payoff can be enormous. But how do you know if management can pull it off? So far this year, we've seen not one, but two ailing pharmaceutical titans try to make this happen. There's Bristol-Myers and there's AbbVie. Lately, both companies had started feeling like pitiful, helpless giants. Their stocks became houses of pain. Even in an environment where many drug stocks have faced real headwinds, it seems like pushing down drug prices is one of the few things that Democrats and Republicans can find common ground on. Bristol-Myers and AbbVie, you know what they do? They stand out as real dogs. The former's lost, get this, roughly a third of its value since it peaked in 2016. The latter's down 40% in less than 2 years. That's some atrocious performance because the market's been pretty good. So both companies decided to take action, take it in their own hands. At the beginning of the year, Bristol-Myers told us they were buying Celgene, a former market darling with a stock that had fallen substantially from its highs, buying for $90 billion. Then in June, we learned that AbbVie is acquiring Allergan, another drug company with a battered stock, for $63 billion. These are huge transformational deals. The new AbbVie and Bristol-Myers will look very different from the current AbbVie and the current Bristol-Myers. The question is, which one do we like more? I mean, look, you can buy them both. That's just, I'm trying to do an exercise of teaching here. I want to teach you how to evaluate these kinds of situations. So let's go over both of these massive mergers and figure out which one looks more enticing. Well, first, you've got to understand, all right, why this is happening at all. It's not like every big pharma stock has been getting crushed. See Merck today? Merck was great in this environment. There's a big performance gap between the haves and the haves-not in this industry. In the case of Bristol-Myers, they've been getting eaten alive by the competition, with their major anti-cancer drug, Opdivo, repeatedly losing to Merck's Keytruda in head-to-head trials. While Keytruda's sales keep climbing, this thing is well on its way to doing $10 billion a year in sales, maybe more. Opdivo's numbers have, let's say, stagnated for the last 4 quarters. As for AbbVie, the pain here is all about Humira, and that's their blockbuster wonder drug for all sorts of autoimmune conditions, from arthritis, Crohn's disease, psoriasis. In a way, AbbVie is a victim of its own success. Humira generated nearly $20 billion in sales last year. The problem? It's already peaked. This drug lost patent protection in Europe late last year. First quarter of this year, Humira's international sales plummeted by 28% because of the competition. While AbbVie still has this thing locked down until 2023 in the U.S., they don't necessarily have anything in the pipe that can replace it, which is a big problem because Humira accounts for more than half of their revenues. You hear that? Half. Both companies need to do something major to get back on track. So on January 3rd, Bristol-Myers made a bid for Celgene, an attempt to combine the scale of a big pharma company with the innovation of a biotech firm. Merck's been kicking around Bristol's butt in oncology, but Celgene has a huge pipeline of anti-cancer drugs, many of which are approaching the end of their clinical trials. In particular, management identified 5 different Celgene drug candidates that they feel, because the market sure didn't, but they feel has serious blockbuster potential that could launch within the next couple of years. Still, is that really worth the $90 billion in cash and stock price, the tag that Bristol-Myers agreed to pay? I mean, that's a lot of bucks. 90. Investors were initially skeptical, but I think management has begun to make it, well, no, they made a compelling case initially right here on this show, but a lot of people weren't buying their compelling case. I sure did. You know what? They could justify paying $55 billion alone just for the products that Celgene currently has on the market. Another $20 billion for the $2.5 billion in annual cost synergies they're expecting. That brings you to $75 billion without counting the drugs in development. When you include the pipeline, Bristol-Myers argues that Celgene was really worth $120 billion. If they're right, that seemingly huge price tag will turn out to be a steal. And I've got to tell you, I think it is a steal. Check, please. All right. Now, what will the combined company look like? Let's go to the source. Listen to Bristol-Myers CEO, Dr. Giovanni Caforio.
It creates the #1 company in oncology, #1 cardiovascular franchise, very strong presence in autoimmune diseases. It generates value for shareholders from day one. And it provides a path to sustainable long-term growth for Bristol-Myers Squibb.
Okay, now they had to sell a few pieces of the business to get regulatory approval, including an important one that I was disappointed in. The government made them sell Otezla. It's a drug I've always liked, but they got a lot of money for it. At this point, the company believes they can close on Celgene by the end of the year. The government has really stood in the way of what is a great merger, but it's going to work. Now, how about one that happened while I was away, while I was in Italy? Ciao. How about AbbVie Allergan? What a merger. In late June, I was in Florida. I was hiking the whole day this thing happened. AbbVie offered $63 billion in cash and stock for Allergan. That's the bleecker maker of Botox, among many other drugs. It was a 45% premium to where the stock had been trading. But then again, it's less than half of what Pfizer offered for the same company for a few years ago, because Allergan had some execution issues. And don't forget, it was also Allergan back a few years ago was a way to be able to get a real tax break. Now, management believes they can generate $2 billion in annual synergies here and other cost reductions by year 3, and they expect the deal to close in early 2020. The idea here is pretty simple. AbbVie needs to diversify away from Humira, and they need to do it fast. Allergan gives them a lot of exposure to medical aesthetics, neuroscience, eye care, women's health, and by the way, I think a very effective possible pill for migraine when you get migraine. They see the deal giving their growth rate a substantial boost, too. In fact, they believe they'll have the best revenue growth prospects in the industry. I think that's hyperbole, also known as hyperbole. All told, AbbVie expects the deal to boost their earnings per share by 10% over the first full year after it closes, with that number eventually rising to 20%. Check, please. After the merger, AbbVie sales will jump from $33 billion to $49 billion. Humira will only be 40% of the mix, down from 60% right now. That's killed them, that concentration. Now, the new AbbVie will also be the third biggest cash generator in the industry, behind only J&J and Roche, which will allow them to clean up the balance sheet, boost the dividend. Basically, the new AbbVie will be a supercharged version of the current business, with much faster growth and much greater diversification. All right, so now we got to think. Which would we rather own, the post-merger Bristol-Myers Celgene or the post-merger AbbVie Allergan? I think both deals make sense, and I have waffled over this all week. And we were sending memos last night about what to do with this. And we come down, and Dr. Kafario, don't take it personally, but I actually like the AbbVie deal at this point more. I mean, I'd rather buy AbbVie stock than I would Bristol's. Why? First, I still have some concern about the new Bristol-Myers. Remember, they're buying Celgene for its pipeline, not its current slate of products, which have some real issues, including the fact that their largest drug, Revlimid, loses patent protection in 2022. There's a reason they get Celgene at a huge discount to where it had been trading 2 years ago. But boy, is there a lot of cash. You know what? In 18 months, they're going to just make a fortune. On the other hand, while AbbVie likes Allergan's pipeline, they're mainly doing this deal to get their hands on proven drugs that are already on the market, especially Botox, which has a lot more uses than just wrinkles, and that makes it less risky. Second, while AbbVie won't say this out loud, there's a general sense that Allergan's been undermanaged in recent years. I'm being diplomatic. If they can just plug Allergan's existing products into their own infrastructure, it will produce immediate results. I bet it produces instant results. Third, putting the acquisitions aside, AbbVie, as it stands right now, is in better shape than Bristol-Myers. Humira may have a limited shelf life, but the drug's still doing nearly $20 billion in sales. Best-selling drug. Bristol-Myers is nothing compared to that. Finally, AbbVie's paying it away. See, they got a 6% dividend yield. Bristol only has a 3.3% yield. The bottom line, you know what? I love both these companies. I love that both AbbVie and Bristol-Myers are trying to take control of their own destiny by making a pair of gargantuan acquisitions. But if I had to choose, I have to tell you, at this point, I am going to say the better one to buy is AbbVie. And that is a decision that I do not take lightly. I think there's some drugs in Allergan's pipeline, notably the migraine drug, that are going to be very good. Let's speak to Patty in Florida. Patty!
Hi, Jim. Thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you, Patty.
My question is about Elanco. News recently came out that they are buying Bayer's animal health unit for $7.6 billion.
Yeah.
So now that news came out, what do you think about the future of the stock?
Okay, now, speaking with the people at Elanco, they agreed with my assessment, obviously, that I thought this deal was really good, and they should come on. I think this company, I know it's not Zoetis, but it will get to be something near Zoetis, Patty. Zoetis being the absolute best Really an unbelievable company. I agree with you, Patty. I think Elanco's a buy. You know how I feel about the humanization of pets, correct? Okay, listen to me, people. AbbVie and Bristol-Myers are two pharma titans trying to take control of their own destiny. They are both good deals, but I think the AbbVie-Allergan tie-up is a better bet, and you should be buying AbbVie here. All right, we got so much money coming up. It's been a tough few weeks for Zscaler. How can I help you? Could its recent decline be a red flag, or is it a buying opportunity? I got the CEO. Then it's an under-the-radar player working with the likes of Verizon and AT&T, and I bet you've never heard of it. I'll reveal the name when I turn in tonight's homework. And all your calls rapid fire in tonight's edition of the Lightning Round. So stick with, we'll do a week that was Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.